interesting book that was along the same lines of The Power of Intention. This is a great book by a very interesting man. He was a scientist and a believer. His name's Greg Braden. This is just one of his books, Awaken to Zero Point. I love his style of teaching because there's so many people out there who believe that, you know, science and spirituality can't exist in the same space. And and I don't believe that. And I believe that science is able to actually prove spirituality exists. And when you start studying quantum physics, that's what this gets into. You start getting into some very, very interesting topics of what's actually possible. And quantum physics is not it's not some hooey physics out there. This is being studied at a very, very high levels by some of the most brilliant minds of our times. So if you're interested in taking it to another level with that type of information, highly suggest you get anything by Greg Braden because of his style of teaching. He's able to break down some very complex concepts, make them very easy to understand. So that's just those are just some of the books that I've read. I'm going to show you a couple of two new books that I've added. That I just started this one here recently, a few months back. This is a book that is written by one of my good friends. His name is Dr. Obam Bowen. We went to high school together, and excuse me, Dr. Bowen. Let me just read you a little bit. Dr. Bowen is a retired, decorated Marine who, as infantry commander, received a Purple Heart for his service and wounds sustained in combat. Obam hails from very humble beginnings. He's a master career strategist and a consummate entrepreneur who has a passion for studying human behavior, personal development, psychology, philosophy, and creating strategies that work. Strategies have helped thousands of people across the globe, helping people break through psychological barriers that hold them back. Obam's expertise has helped Fortune 500 companies as well as countless individuals. As an author, speaker, and trainer with a passion for people and for helping them completely transform their lives, he is the founder of Global Fairy Tale, Manifest Wealth Systems, and Seven Consulting. His work is through believing and achieving in each other. So this book is this is his most recent release. It says, today is the day. 3 keys to living your ultimate life. 3 keys. Wait, I mean, 3 keys to living your ultimate life. That sounds good, right? Well, let me show you just on page 10 what he does. I'm not gonna give you a close up from it because this has got some of my stuff in here. So, but what he gives you is kind of a gift, and it says right here, today is the day. Before you go any further in this book, my first gift to you is to help you define what success looks like for you. Today is the day for you to define success in these 3 simple but profound areas: life, relationship, work, business, parenting. Now that you have then he goes on to say, now that you have an idea, this book will become the instructional manual to your wealth. Congratulations. So now what you can do is you can go in here and define what success means to you. Like, do you know that? Do you know what success means to you? I didn't for a long time. Even all these stuff that I was reading, you have to go to, workshops and things like that where you start to learn these type of concepts to actually start putting pen to paper and getting your ideas out of your head. Remember what I haven't said it yet on this video. I learned this past weekend at this amazing conference that Dr. Obam Bowen hosted called Unleash Your Greatness, which I'm going to be speaking at next year in the summer, June of 2019 here in Atlanta, Georgia at the Cobb Galleria. So thanks to him, my first book is going to be a collaboration book with about 10 other authors. And um, the beautiful thing I think about this book is that I'm not saying it takes all this other stuff that I've covered already and puts it into one book, but it's a lot. It's a whole lot. And you can start to help define success in all these areas of your life, start to help uh, reprogram and retrain your mind to think in a more positive light and to start to work for you instead of against you. That's powerful. If you're going to get one read, definitely pick one of these up. And another book that I want to show you, this is a book that is a collaboration by a man named Raymond Harlal. And Raymond and Obam have partnered up, and that's where the book that I'm collaborating on is going to come from. And so I'm really excited. I haven't been able to get into this, but pick this book up too. This is the Handbook to Holistic Health, H3, the self-help guide to live happy, healthy, and wealthy. So these are some great books, and so much information. It's invaluable. And so I know this has been a long video. I appreciate any of you who stuck around long enough to come through it with me. This is, like I said, this is just a short list of some of the books that I've read, but I get a lot of people ask me this: what do I read? Where do I get this information? How do I know these things? And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I just want to share with you some notes real quick in closing from what I learned from this past Unleash Your Greatness conference this past weekend. And this was profound, and it's so true. But just know that you're one connection. You're one connection away from a new life. All you have to do, you can make one new connection. It could be at your job to get into a promotion. It could be, in a relationship. And it could change your life. But more importantly, toward your own success, you make one connection. It'll change your life forever. And there's another principle that these were all laid out by Dr. Ruben West. If you don't know who Dr. Ruben West is, look him up. Amazing speaker. He said, you need to start treating yourself how you treat others. You deserve it. Most people will go out and do more for others than they will themselves. Even as in selfish society that we live in, you still see people out there doing for others and putting themselves on the back burner. It says in the scriptures that, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. We all know this principle. It says to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And we've heard this before too, right? Most people, there's some philosophies out there that teach that, this loving yourself is not a good thing. And I would beg to differ. Because if the scripture says you should love your neighbor as you love yourself, then that includes loving yourself. And more importantly, it goes to speak to the fact that if you don't love yourself, then how can you love someone else? Especially a complete stranger. So I would encourage you, start treating yourself better. Treat yourself the way you would treat the others that you love. Another great topic that I learned, principle that I learned, is that our ideas are our inheritance from our Creator. Our ideas are our inheritance. And you may think that you come from a lowly place or background, and you say, Brian, I'm not getting an inheritance. Well, you've already got it. You've been getting it, and you'll continue to get it. But if you actually think and start to read and expand your mind and open your heart to helping others and develop a servant leader attitude, those ideas will come more often, and they'll get better, and they'll get bigger, and they're your inheritance that you didn't even know you had. This is another great one. We do this so often too. We often let people who are blind proofread our visions from God. You know, how many times have you ever had an idea and you were excited about it and you go share it with somebody and you're on fire and then they just pour water all over your idea? How many times has that ever happened to you? It's happened to me a lot. And when I was younger and I wasn't as thought-oriented, it would affect me a lot. It would cause me to stop or agree with them or believe them and listen to them and think, wow, yeah, what was I thinking? That was stupid. Well, no, it wasn't. Because it wasn't my idea, it was my inheritance. But I let my inheritance get stolen because I was letting blind people proofread my vision from the Most High. You know, another principle is the highest form that Dr. Reuben West talks about. The highest form of faith is preparation. The highest form of faith is preparation. Are you preparing in your life? Do you have faith? Are you showing that faith through your preparation in your daily life? Whether that's in preparing healthy meals so that you can keep the temple clean and whole and pure. Do you think that, because this is the temple. This is the temple. If you're a believer, you know this. But if you're a believer and you know it's the temple and you're not treating it like it's a temple, and you're wondering why things in your life are going so awry, start treating the temple. Start cleaning house. Start cleaning house. That's what I had to do. I had to clean house. I had to clean out the temple. Get reconnected back to my passions and my purpose. And this is the last principle I'll share with you from Dr. Reuben West. Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. I love that. Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. Wow. Like, can you imagine? Every time you have a coincidence in your life, and you're just like, oh, wow, what a coincidence. You heard people say it all the time. You said it a million times. I know I have, right? But it's no accident. You know, to coincide is a geometric term. It means that two lines are running, like, not parallel, but literally like right over top of each other. They coincide. So if coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous, that just lets you know he's right there with you. He's in the temple. He's always with you. So, like I said before, I used to say this by Les Brown and how much he had helped me. So anything you can find by him, his audios, videos on YouTube, listen to it. You'll be amazed. This past weekend, because of the event my friend Dr. Obam Bowen put on. See, I said a long time ago that I was going to meet this man and thank him for what he did for me, to help me to believe in myself when I didn't believe in myself, to help me have that strength to pick myself up and pull myself out of my own funk. And then through, the power of intention, I said, One day I'm going to meet that man. One day I'm going to meet him. I'm going to shake his hand. I'm going to thank him for what he's done for me, what he did for me, what he still continues to do for me. And that day happened this past Saturday. I got to meet the great Les Brown. Most of the people speaking on stage were friends and proteges of his. And he showed up just to show support. When he got up for a few minutes to speak, even though he wasn't scheduled to a speaker, they still let the great Les Brown get up and speak. And he said, the reason you don't succeed, it's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need that keeps you from your success. And think about that. The reason you don't succeed, it's not because of what you don't have. Everybody always looking around, oh, well, if I had this, I would be successful. If I had that, I'd be successful. If I had, that job or that position or that business, then I could be successful. Or if I had this degree, I could go out and get this job and now I'd be successful. That all goes back to defining what success means to you. But it's not what you don't have that's holding you back from success. It's what you think you need. Just like I thought I needed a college degree so I could go and get a good job with benefits and all that stuff. And I'm so glad I took the road less traveled, for it has made all the difference. So the one last tip I would encourage you to do is to go to a website and order one of these day planners. And it's a Elite Leadership Program day planner by David Bird. And if I can find, you can go to davidbirdconsulting.com and pick up one of these day planners. You can literally plan the next 5 years of your life in a very, very methodical way here and reverse engineer. So if you have a goal that you're trying to meet, whatever that goal is, doesn't matter what area of your life it's in. If you're trying to reach a goal and you want to game plan that in one of the most methodical ways you can, then get a hold of one of these planners and get your 5-year plan and reverse engineer that back to, what do I have to be at 2.5 years? What do I have to be at a year? Okay, so if I have to be here at 2.5 years to get that 5-year goal, then to be here at 2.5 years, where do I have to be at a year? And then if this is where I have to be at a year to start making all that happen, to put that into motion, where do I have to be, 9 months from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, this month? And when you reverse engineer it, you can see the whole plan. It lays out right before you. And it's so amazing what you can accomplish if you just think. So I want to encourage you all to jump in, dive into books, whatever your interests are, read, encourage your children to read. It's something that's disappearing unfortunately in ways that I don't think we really understood how it would happen. So I have 2 sons, one going to be a junior, the other going into 5th grade, and their schools, I know especially my oldest son in high school, everything's on a tablet, a Chromebook. They're not taking home books anymore. It's all digital, and there's a beautiful thing about book. It's like, you take a book wherever you go. You can stand in line. You can, when you're standing in line, you can take a book, you can read it. If you go on a trip, you can take a book. If you read a good book and you think it'll mean something to someone else like it did to you, you can give it as a gift. Most people aren't just going to give And I understand digital products. I understand there's things you can do with it, yes, but it's still not the same. And so I encourage you to encourage yourself, your children, your loved ones to read books. Find something you're interested in. Start there, because you'll finish it and you'll get into the habit. It's again going back to those habits. So for 21 days, you start reading every day. My mentor, he told me, read 10 pages of a good book every day. Now think about that. If I said, I want you to read all these books I just throw out here for you today, I want you to read every single one of them this year, what would most of you think? I know a long time ago, I would have laughed. I was like, all right, I'll get one book maybe through the year, but you only read all those? And no, I didn't read all these in a year, but like I said, this is just a tip of the iceberg of all the books that I've read over time. So my mentor said, now, if I told you to read this in a day, could you do it? Yeah, maybe. I really, really wanted to. But he said, could you read 10 pages of a good book every day? I thought, yeah, that's easy. Because I told him, he was like, hey, I want you to read this book. I was like, I don't like reading. Oh, yeah, I got to read? You got an audio? You got a CD of that? And he said, yeah. He said, why don't you like reading? I don't know. Just never found anything. I guess I really enjoyed reading it that much. And he sparked an interest in me, for sure. And he said, can you read 10 pages of a good book every day? Yeah, I can do that. That I can do. He said, great. He said, start reading 10 pages of a good book every day. He said, if you do that, you stay consistent. There's 365 days in a year. What's that times 10? 3,650 pages? You think you could read 3,600? Would you have thought you could read 3,650 pages? You know? How many 500-page books is that? You know? That's 7? A little over 7 500-page books? See what I mean? Like, who would think they would read 7 500-page books in a year? I wouldn't. But guess what? I have. Not necessarily the 500-pagers, but I got to where I could crank books like this out a couple days. You'd be surprised. So, just want to tell you I love you all. Thank you for all you who are tuned in and listened to see some of my library and hear some of my experiences and why I've read the things that I've read. And I hope this has been a blessing to you. And I know it's been a blessing to me just being able to share it with you. And if you have any questions or you want my help, and I do consulting and with people with their personal health and through mind, body, and spirit techniques. So if I can ever help you, you can find me at my website, briangerald.com. There'll be a link on my channel, and you can go there. You can contact me there, and I do consulting. I do personalized protocols, and I'm going to keep adding content and information. I've got many other projects that I'm working on. I told you I'm an entrepreneur, so there's other good stuff coming. If you're a doctor, if you're a chiropractor, especially if you're if you're a holistic minded doctor or a chiropractor, a naturopath, you have a spa, anything like that, you can go to my website, iawakeme.com, and that's our medical equipment sales division. You can take a look there. We have hyperbaric chambers, lasers, light therapy, saunas, all sorts of really good stuff geared toward at the practitioner level. But if you have the means, amazing tools to have in your home. You can use them for yourself, for all your loved ones. So thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful, blessed day. And if I can ever be of service to you, please reach out and get in touch with me. And until then, bye-bye.